The option to create a 3D surface by blending cross-sections along a path requires you to create two sets of geometry, a path that the cross-sections will follow, and one or more cross-sectional shapes. I will begin with a simple example. The arc at the left of the screen will be the cross-sectional shape for the 3D surface. Next to it is a larger arc that will be the path that I want the cross-section to follow. I switch to the surface mode, click the menu button, select the option to create a 3D surface, and then the option to blend the cross-sections. The prompt at the top of the screen tells me to select the item that defines the path. So I will click this arc. The prompt at the top of the screen changes to tell me to click the cross-sectional shape or draw a box around them. In this example, there is only one cross-section, so I could either click it or draw a box around it. I will click it. I will switch to the 3D viewing mode, and you can see that MillWrite has created a 3D surface that has that cross-section, and which is following the path that I requested. I will now show you how to create a surface with two cross-sections instead of just one. I will now delete that surface by letting the mouse hover over one of the 5 bow tie shapes, and then press the delete key on the keyboard. Then I let the mouse hover over the arc that defines the cross-section, and press Ctrl-C to copy it to the clipboard, and then press Ctrl-V to paste it. The middle mouse button is already set to Add a Node, so I will let the mouse hover over the arc, and then click the middle mouse button to add a node to it. I will drag that node up a bit. When the mouse is hovering over that polyline, the node that I just created shows up as a square, which means that it is a tangent node. I want to create a cusp, so I need to change it to a loose node. I could press the L key on the keyboard while the mouse is hovering over the node, but for this example, I will click the right mouse button and then select the option to make a node loose or tangent, and then I will click the node and switch it to loose. I will then switch to the flex arc function and flex these two arcs. Now I click the menu button, but before I click the option to blend cross sections along a path, I will press and hold down the Control key. Notice that a menu appears at the bottom of the screen to let me know that while I am holding down the Control key, whichever function I select from the menu will be put at the bottom of the user-defined buttons. To understand what this means, I will keep the Control key down and then click the option to blend cross-sections along a path. You will not see anything happen, but keep this in mind because you will soon find out what happened. As before, the prompt at the top of the screen requests me to select the polyline that will be the path, so I click the same arc. I am then prompted to select the cross-sectional shapes, and this time I draw a box around these two polylines. MillWrite then creates a 3D surface that starts with the cross-section that has the lowest y coordinate and then blends it into the other cross-section as it travels around that path. Also, now that the function is finished, you can see that the user-defined buttons along the right side of the screen are showing that the blending cross-sections is at the bottom. This means that I can now click that button rather than select it from the menu. When you find yourself repeatedly using the same menu function over and over, this can be an easy way of accessing that function. Note that the next time you hold the Control key down and click a different menu option, that new option will be put at the bottom of the user-defined buttons, replacing what is already there. So if you want to keep what is already there, move it up in the list by holding down the left button on it and dragging it upward. I will now delete that 3D surface and add a third cross section. I had previously copied this arc to the clipboard, and it will still be there, so I will paste another copy with Control V. And I will put the copy above the other two cross sections. When MillWrite blends cross sections into a path, it starts with the section that is at the lowest y coordinate and then works upward. In this case, the first and third cross sections are the same shape, so it doesn't matter which direction MillWrite starts from. I will now click the user-defined button to blend cross sections along a path, and I will select that same arc, and then I'll draw a box around these three cross sections. MillWrite then creates a 3D surface that has the two cross sections at the start and end, and the middle cross section is in the middle of the path.